Now, the theme of today is places to spaces. How many of you allow your employees, where it's important, to work from home or alternate locations other than the office? Yep. Okay. So obviously, you have realized that work is not a place that we go to. Work is a thing that we do. And this is an important distinction. Essentially, we need to move from a paradigm of the four walls, that you come into the office to do a job of work. Your job is not defined by your office location or by the walls that form boundaries around that office. It is defined by what you do, and what you do, you should be able to do wherever you are. Whether it's at a branch office, whether it's at a customer, whether it's at home. So these are the kinds of things that you want to be able to achieve. And enabling technologies that allow you to do this need to be easy to use and accessible. So Telstra is investing literally billions of dollars in technologies that not only are going to be effective and provide you the tools to be more productive, but in making sure that those technologies are simple and accessible, that they are easy to use. So hopefully we can show you that you'll be able to leverage the investments that we're making to make your business more productive and more profitable. And we call this section On the Shoulders of Giants, literally because we want you to be able to leverage the investments that we've made in technology to enable you to be better at what you do in your business. I'm going to explain how this works. And to do that, I'm going to call out a quote from a chap by the name of Nicholas Carr. He's the author of The Big Switch. And he basically said that cheap, utility-based computing will ultimately change society as profoundly as electricity did. So what's the electricity analogy? Well, a while back when it was still important to produce horseshoes, because that was the primary mode of transportation, a chap by the name of Henry Burden built a factory. And such was the demand for horseshoes that he built several of these factories, but he encountered a problem. He needed to create his own electricity to generate inside his factory. So that's exactly what he did. He had a 60-foot high, 200-ton water wheel in the factory, or adjacent to the factory, that would generate electricity. And it was a concept known as millwork. It would generate this very intricate sequence of pulleys that would extend the ability to do work into the factory. You could only extend it so far, but it worked. And he was very successful. He basically cornered the market, and he was able to build his business on the fact that not only was he the mass producer of horseshoes, but he did it in a very innovative way. Well, 30-odd years down the line, his 60-foot high, 200-ton water wheel was lying in ruin. And why is that? Simply because what happened was electricity was centralized. And when it became centralized, and to be able to access the need for electricity was as simple as flicking on a switch, an on-demand, as-you-need-it kind of scenario, then it was no longer necessary to produce your own electricity. And this analogy calls to the ease with which, and the benefits of, taking IT systems and moving it into a cloud, the central data center, a service provider hosted environment where we do what we're best at and what we're experts at, and you reap the benefits. So what we've done is we've replaced that electricity feed, and we're now looking at the data center. And what can you do there? Well, pretty much anything that's behind the screen of your computer can be centralized in a cloud environment, whether it's the desktop itself, whether it's software, even the hardware of your PC can be virtualized and centralized in a data center in a cloud environment. And I'm going to go into how this would benefit or potentially benefit aspects of your business. So the first is utilization. Essentially, a utilization model allows you to get access to the kinds of IT services that you need as and when you need it. There's an element of security that's also important. And there we like to think that we're pretty good at securing our assets, or the assets that you use, that you leverage off of us. There's the issue of performance. Because we're investing in the latest and greatest technologies, and we're ensuring that our capacity and our computing power is always at the leading edge, you no longer have the responsibility to upgrade those servers to make sure that your applications and your server applications perform the way they should. And finally, I've mentioned this already, but scalability. Being able to use what you need when you need it, even in peak times, and then scale back down when you don't. That kind of flexibility is what's hopefully going to make your business far more efficient at what you do. So let's have a look at some of the cloud services and the cloud service models. Essentially, all of these cloud services, whether it's desktops, software, applications, platforms, or infrastructure, all of these can be centralized and be accessible whether or not you are in the office, whether you're on the move, or whether you're at home. And this is the importance of centralizing this model. Instead of having to build your own remote networking architecture and systems and making sure that those systems are secure, you can leverage ours. We own the data center and you pay as you go, as you need it. Now, we've got a variety of products like T Suite, for example, which leverages a number of Microsoft products and others to provide a facility, a whole host of different applications. We have a product called Digital Business and Telstra IP telephony, which allows you to provide communications as a service and UC as a service, or unified communications. So all of these things can be centralized, and we can work with you to ensure that what you need is centralized as you need it, and we can even adopt a kind of a hybrid model. They're always the bespoke applications that you need in your data center, and we can help you investigate whether or not those applications and those servers can be migrated into a cloud model. So to summarize the ethos of cloud computing, it's essentially a model of moving from capital expenditure to operational expenditure. And what this does is it not only frees up your capital, you can spend it on things that are far more important to what you do as a business, but it also gives you a consistent, repeatable, and predictable OpEx model that you can use to run your IT systems. So this is very important. It changes the IT model. The other thing is currency. You no longer have to invest in the systems that you have to maintain currency, to be up to date, to stay on the leading edge or the bleeding edge, because we do that for you. We're constantly updating our systems to make sure that you have the best infrastructure and server infrastructures to be able to run your business. And finally is core competence. This is something that we are good at. IT is our business. It's not necessarily yours, but we are there to help you ensure that your IT facilities are, if they're cloud-based or hosted, are there to provide you the most efficient possible way of working to support the things that you really do. You no longer have to worry about building your own electricity. We'll do that for you.